Hello, you are watching Shalom World News. I'm Rory McLennan coming to you from Glasgow, Scotland. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. 2 people were killed in Poland by a suspected Russian rocket. Warsaw stated on Tuesday that it had increased its military readiness in preparation for a potential significant escalation of the conflict in Ukraine. Despite lacking concrete proof of who fired the projectile, Warsaw reported that a Russian rocket killed 2 people in the town of Przewodów and stated Moscow's envoy had been summoned to give an immediate detailed explanation. Following a meeting of the Emergency National Security Council, Warsaw's military was placed on high alert. The White House reported that President Joe Biden spoke via phone with his Polish counterpart Andrzej Duda and pledged full US support for and assistance with Poland's probe. The event garnered worldwide condemnation, with French President Emmanuel Macron asking for talks at the G20 conference currently taking place in Indonesia, and European Union Chief Charles Michel expressing outrage over the occurrence. Meanwhile, G7 nations offered support to Poland and condemned Russian strikes on Ukraine. Vatican Secretary of State Cardinal Pietro Parolin will preside over a special Mass for peace in Ukraine on November the 17th as part of the Holy See's latest efforts to put an end to the conflict. The Cardinal will conduct the Mass at Pope Francis's favourite basilica, St. Mary Major in Rome. The Mass is being jointly organised by the Vatican Secretariat of State, the Sovereign Order of Malta and the Ukrainian Embassy to the Holy See. It also commemorates the late Pope St. John Paul II's establishment of the Apostolic Nunciature in Kiev and the 30th anniversary of the restoration of full diplomatic relations between Ukraine and the Holy See. The Mass will be concelebrated by various cardinals, bishops and priests of both the Roman and the Greek Catholic Church. Ukrainian believers and all who wish to participate in the prayer for peace are invited to attend the Eucharistic celebration. The United Nations Human Rights Council announced that it would hold a special meeting on November the 24th to discuss the Iranian government's crackdown on protesters, which has resulted in hundreds of deaths. According to an Oslo-based human rights organisation, at least 326 protesters have been killed in demonstrations in Iran over the killing of Mahsa Amini. On November the 24th, the UN Human Rights Council will hold a session to discuss the deteriorating situation in Iran. After Germany and Iceland moved the UN resolution, the decision was made to hold the conference. The proposal must receive the consent of 16 of the United Nations Human Rights Council's 47 members for the session to proceed. It has been backed by 44 countries, including 17 council members. The Taliban's supreme leader, Hebatullah Akhundzada, has ordered the strict implementation of Sharia law across Afghanistan. Sharia law punishments include public execution, stoning and flogging. According to CNN, Taliban spokesperson Zabihullah Mujahid said Afghanistan's supreme leader made the obligatory command after meeting with judges. Experts fear that the new announcement will lead to more human rights abuses across the country. The Taliban assumed control of the country in August in 2021. Thousands of non-Muslims have already fled the country, fearing persecution. Nearly 99.7% of the Afghan population is estimated to be Muslim. Archbishop Timothy Broglio of the Archdiocese for the Military Services has been elected as the new president of the US Conference of Catholic Bishops. Archbishop Broglio, who succeeds Archbishop Jose Gomez, was elected president at the Fall Plenary Assembly of Bishops in Baltimore. Archbishop William Lori of Baltimore was elected the conference's vice president. He succeeds Archbishop Alan Vigneron of Detroit. Archbishop Broglio has been serving as the Archbishop of the Military Services since November in 2007. He will serve a 3-year term. Before the election of the new president of the Usccb, the sitting president, Archbishop Jose Gomez, delivered the presidential message in which he said that it had been a privilege to serve the conference and the family of God in the United States for 3 years. Archbishop Gomez stated that during these years he had been blessed with the rare opportunity to hear the concerns of many faithful Catholics that the conference serves. In his message he said, "All of us are being called to step up and open every door for Jesus Christ, to shine his light into every area of our culture and society, to bring every heart to a new encounter with the living God." The Archbishop also pointed out that all members of the Church are being called to a deeper conversion. Archbishop Gomez was elected as the president of the Usccb in November 2019. More than 500 anti-Christian hate crimes reportedly took place across Europe throughout 2021. That's according to a recent survey by a religious liberty watchdog. The survey was carried out by the non-governmental Austria-based Observatory on Intolerance and Discrimination Against Christians. The 2021 annual report addresses cases of intolerance and discrimination against Christians in Europe from January the 1st, 2021 to December the 31st. As per the report, France topped the list with 124 crimes against Christians, followed by Germany with 112. Italy, Poland and the United Kingdom were the next three nations, with 82, 60 and 40 incidents of crime respectively. Reportedly, vandalism was the most prevalent hate crime against European Christians. Thefts of offerings, of holy items, consecrated hosts and church equipment were among the other offences. On Sunday, the bell of St. Paul's Chaldean Catholic Cathedral in Mosul once again rang joyfully for the first time in 8 years. During the rampage of the Islamic State, the bell was safely hidden by a Muslim family. On November the 13th, Christians from all across the Nineveh plain flocked to the cathedral to take part in the bell-ringing ritual and divine liturgy. Chaldean Archbishop Najib Michael of Mosul and Accra ceremoniously rang the church bell after leading a procession to the Virgin Mary's grotto in the church courtyard. The Cathedral of St. Paul was damaged by the militants and it remained so until they were evicted in 2017. It was in 2019 that the cathedral was restored and reopened for worship. After learning of the fatalities and injuries caused by the blast in Turkey's Istanbul on Sunday, Pope Francis sent a telegram on Tuesday to the apostolic Archbishop Marek Solczycki expressing his profound condolences. The Pope offered his prayers so that no act of violence will deter the efforts of the people of Turkey to establish a society founded on the values of brotherhood, justice and peace. The Ecumenical Patriarch of Constantinople, Bartholomew, also expressed firm condemnation of the attack. According to local media reports, he went to the scene of the bombing to remember the victims. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and his deputy Fuat Oktay had spoken of a woman being responsible for the blast. Initially, it was thought to be a suicide bomber. However, remarks made that evening indicated that the individual who set the bomb had been apprehended. The head of the Committee on Pro-Life Activities of the US Catholic Bishops' Conference has urged his fellow bishops to demonstrate radical solidarity with expectant mothers and the unborn following the repeal of Roe v. Wade. After being elected as the new vice president of the Bishops' Conference, Archbishop William Lori of Baltimore delivered his remarks during the fall general meeting. Decrying the struggles faced by pregnant women in society, the prelate urged the conference to assist them. Referring to the post-Roe era as a pivotal point in culture, the prelate said that the end of Roe was a huge achievement. He also urged people to take an active role in creating a society that values women, values and protects children, and calls men to live up to their roles as husbands and as fathers. The Archdiocese of Washington, D.C. has indicated that the youth rally and Mass for Life have been cancelled. In a statement, the Archdiocese stated that following a consultation with other dioceses and all those involved in hosting the rally and the Mass, they have decided not to move forward with hosting the larger multi-diocese rally. Various dioceses have shared their thoughts to focus more on state-level marches for life as Roe v. Wade has now been overturned. According to its website, the youth rally seeks to encourage the youth participating in the National March for Life in their witness as followers of Christ and supporters of the gospel of life. However, the message also says that young people from the Archdiocese of Washington are still welcome to attend a Mass of celebration and thanksgiving on January the 20th in 2023 at the Cathedral of St. Matthew the Apostle. Commemorating the 4th centennial of the founding of the Congregation of the Evangelization of Peoples, formerly known as Propaganda Fide, the Vatican is scheduled to conduct an international congress from November the 16th to the 18th. The initiative, titled Euntes in Mundum Universum, will be held at the Pontifical Urbaniana University in Rome. During a press conference, Father Bernard Ardura, the president of the Pontifical Commission for Historical Sciences, said that the Department for Evangelization, the Pontifical Urbaniana University, and the Pontifical Mission Societies are jointly organising the event. As many as 24 speakers from 9 nations and 5 continents will speak at the conference. It will also highlight the work carried out by Propaganda Fide in reaffirming the universal character of the Catholic Church. The Congregation of Propaganda Fide was constituted by Pope Gregory XV in 1622. As the Ugandan government works to reform the education policy in the country, the Catholic Church has proposed particular demands for the same. The Episcopal Conference has urged to mandate Christian religious education in schools funded by the Church and emphasised the need to increase research and grants. The Episcopate also requests that the government set a cap on tuition, give fair wages to instructors, particularly in secondary schools. It also wants the government to standardise the curriculum and mandate pre-primary education. In a presentation made in Kampala to the Amanya Mushega-led Education Policy Review Commission, the Executive Secretary for Education of the Uganda Episcopal Conference argued the government to cover the costs of teaching practice in public and private universities. The Church also decried that the universities in the country charge high tuition fees but provide poor infrastructure. With a county court judge overturning the 6 weeks abortion ban, most abortions are now legal in the US state of Georgia. On Tuesday, Judge Robert McBurney of the Supreme Court of Fulton County ruled that the state's abortion ban law was unconstitutional when it was legalized in 2019, as the Roe v. Wade decision was still in effect. The law prohibits abortion once fetal heart activity is detected, usually about 6 weeks into a pregnancy. Under the law, there were exemptions in cases of rape and when the mother's life was at risk. The legislation was supposed to come into effect after the US Supreme Court granted the states the power to impose abortion restrictions to any extent. However, the Attorney General's office has filed an appeal. As it stands, Georgia now permits abortions up to 22 weeks. And those are your latest headlines. Do join us again tomorrow for more. And do remember, you can also visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.